It's not just a New Age phenomenon. It's not an American phenomenon. People all over the world are feeling it, and they're saying the same thing. They have different words for it. They say it feels like the other foot or the other shoe is about to drop. Or they feel that something has begun and it's yet to complete. Do you feel that? Feel it in your life? Someone asked you earlier, I think it was Marcy asked you earlier, how many of you are going through big changes in your life? Or do you know someone, you're close to someone that is? I want everybody in the room, raise your hand. I'm going to ask you a follow-up question. How many of you feel like something is happening in this world that is different than anything that's ever happened before? Does the world feel different to you now? Do you feel that low-level anxiety, that sense that something's going on? Do you feel that? How many? Okay, so here's, now this is interesting. I want to ask you this. If you've never thought about this, it's going to make a lot of sense because of where we're going tonight. You're all telling me you're experiencing big challenges and change in your personal lives, but you're also telling me that you feel that our world is experiencing some of the greatest challenges in global history. So my question to you, is it possible that those two things are related? Could they be related? And here's what I mean by that. Is it possible that, and we're going to identify some of this, is it possible that whatever is going on in the world out there somehow is pushing and stressing and triggering the changes that are happening in here in our personal lives? Is that possible? I think there's a really good chance that's precisely what happens. When we reach the point where we are in our world right now. And I can say that to you with relative confidence for this reason. Because it's what always seems to happen when we reach the point in the world where we are right now. Because cycles by their nature repeat. We can look into the past and see what has happened to the civilizations on this planet. What happened to our ancestors? What happened to the people on this planet last time they found themselves at a time, not unlike what we're experiencing now, a time of the convergence of so many cycles? And the answer to that question is sobering. Because the answer is this, that some of the greatest civilizations in the history of our planet collapsed and disappeared when they reached the point in their cycle where you and I are right now, because they made a mistake that you and I can avoid if we have the wisdom to recognize what happened before. Feel that? Woo. And here's the mistake. When those civilizations reached the close of their cycles, just as we are today, and the world changed just as it is today, and people couldn't live their lives the same way that they'd been accustomed to living their lives in the past, and the systems that were not sustainable began to collapse because they couldn't hold up under the stress of the change. Does that sound familiar? When that happened, those who did not understand the cycles became frightened, and in their fear, they fought one another. They created war. They fought one another to grab the last vestiges of the resources that were disappearing because they didn't understand the cycles. And when they fought one another, everybody lost. Nobody won. We've got to ask ourselves, are we making the same mistake today? And if what you're telling us, and this is no news to you, the extremes in climate, the extremes in weather, the 30 new diseases with no medical cure that's cropped up in the last 25 years, food shortages all over the world right now, the growing number of conflicts that are no longer about borders. These are conflicts about ideas, and how these conflicts are merging into regional battles that now have a very real potential of leading to war. And the nuclear proliferation that you and I are seeing is unprecedented since the Cold War. The experts talk about this. They've been saying this for over 10 years now. They talk about the economic crisis that they expected to happen. This didn't come from nowhere. The experts knew it was coming. What are we creating if we expect and anticipate some big event happening on December 21st, the winter solstice of the year 2012? I want to tell you right now, and you'll see this, there's no scientific basis to suspect that 2012 is going to be a frightening experience in our lives. It is, however, the end of a great and mysterious cycle of time. And in the past, when those cycles have completed, Earth has always undergone the change. But we always survive the change in the world around us. It's the change in the world within us that becomes the challenge. How do we treat one another when we go through those kinds of changes? How do we treat our family across the borders of other nations?